Hi everyone, I'm Joan, and in this video I'll be walking through a step-by-step guide for how to hold a Juniper class in 2019. So to start off with step 1, we have planning, listing, and promoting the class. By planning the class, I mean planning what dates the class is going to be on, where it's going to be, who the leaders are going to be, what days of the week and times, etc. Once you have all of those details finalized, you can then add the class to yourjuniper.org. And we ask that you please do this at least 30 days prior to the first class session. This way, participants are able to find the class online and register for it if they're interested. And lastly, promoting the class in the community, working with your regional program developer if needed. We do have a lot of different and updated Juniper marketing materials that are available, including class flyers and brochures. So be sure to reach out to your regional representative for those. And that's step 1. Before I go into step 2, I'm just going to talk about the different ways that a participant can register for a class. And they are, you can either register online, over the phone, or in person. And I'm actually just going to go on to the Juniper demo site and show you the different ways that participants can register. So this is what we call the demo site. It's fake data. It's what we use for testing purposes. So it looks exactly like the real site, but a participant will find a class that they're interested in, and they will fill out their information. They're also able to fill out their insurance provider, group number, and member ID. So we have a drop-down list of the most common insurance providers in Minnesota. We also have an other and unknown option. And this is all optional for participants to fill out when registering online. However, when they do attend the first class session, we ask that all leaders do collect this information. Going down, we have updated the Juniper privacy policy. So you can see here it's a little bit, or quite a bit longer than the previous one. It also has the terms of use for the website. And in order to register for a class online, the participant will have to have clicked this box saying that they have read and received the Juniper Notice of Privacy policy, and there they can register for that. The second way participants can register is by calling the 1-855 number here if they don't have an email, or by contacting the service delivery organization or class contact. And if that occurs, I'm going to log in here quick. The phone representative, whoever it will be, will log into the back end of the website, and they'll find what class the participant is interested in registering for. And from here, they're able to register a new participant from the back end using the same fields as the front, except for you don't need an email address if you're registering someone over the phone. Again, you can ask for the insurance provider, group number, and member ID when registering participants over the phone. And then lastly, the Notice of Privacy policy. In the past, we had the phone representatives read the privacy policy to participants, and then we would check a box, say, I've read this to the participant. Instead of doing that, now we're just going to have an option of saying that the participant has not received the privacy policy notice, and then register from there. And then on the first class session, the participant will receive an in-person copy of the privacy policy for them to have. We also have an option here that the participant has received the privacy policy notice, and that's not for registering someone before the class. That's actually if the class has already happened, and then the participant had already received and signed off that they have received the privacy policy notice, and then you're entering them after the fact. But if you're ever registering someone before the class starts, it's always that they have not received the privacy policy. So after you register someone, or someone registers online before the first class session, you can see the list of participants here. And so you have their information, their contact information, and then here we have a column that states that they've received the notice of privacy policy. And this will either say yes or no. It will say yes if they registered themselves, because you have to agree when you're registering themselves, or you're not even agreeing, but you have to say that you have read and received the privacy policy before you sign up yourself. And then if you sign up someone over the phone, it always is going to say no. So that is there. And we also have the insurance plan name, group ID, and member ID. And for this list of participants, what you'll do before the class starts is actually you're going to export this to Excel. And this will just be easy to print, and then you can take it to class and use it as sort of a checklist to say, okay, Paula St. John, for example, this person has not received the privacy policy, so I know I have to, as a leader, give them a physical version of the privacy policy. And they have their insurance information filled out, so I don't need to collect that. And then the next person, they might have received the privacy policy, so I don't need to give it to them, but maybe they didn't fill out their insurance information, so I will have to gather that information from them. And then the third option is not registering online prior to the class, but registering in person, and I'll just go through that in the next step. Okay, so step 2 is on the first session of every class, you're going to, as a leader, distribute and collect forms from participants. And the 3 forms are the privacy policy and acknowledgement form, the registration form, and the pre-surveys. The privacy policy and acknowledgement form, like I just mentioned, isn't needed to be agreed to. It just has to be given to the participants, and they have to have the option of reading it and acknowledging that they have read and received the privacy policy. They can either do this online if they register themselves, and if they haven't, it will be a 3-page document for the privacy policy, and then on the last page, it will have an acknowledgement form, and on that acknowledgement form, the participant will sign their name. They can keep the first 3 pages for themselves, and then the leader will collect the last page that says that they have signed it. The registration form is needed to register participants into the website. So again, if they've already registered online, either over the phone or in person, or not in person, over the phone or by themselves online, they don't need a registration form. But if they haven't, we'll need to gather their information to enter them into the system. And then lastly, the pre-survey, and the pre-surveys for the fall prevention and the chronic disease self-management education classes are all updated in 2019. And so you'll see they have a couple different questions, and they're a little bit shorter. Okay. Step 3 is to take the attendance of the participants at every class session and facilitate the class. And I just have a note on here that attendance can be captured on paper, as it has been done in the past, by check marking who is there and who isn't. And you can also do it electronically over on your smartphone or a tablet if you have one, on the Juniper website directly, just so that's an option. You don't have to enter it later. And then also facilitate the class following fidelity, of course. Step 4 then is for the last session of the class, and that is to distribute and collect forms again. So on the last class session, you'll distribute the post-survey questionnaire to all participants, as well as a certificate of completion if you have one, or other optional class forms. Okay, so then of the class, the leader will have collected the pre-surveys and post-surveys, the registration form if they have not already previously registered, and then the privacy policy acknowledgement forms, which is page 4 of the privacy policy packet, if they have not agreed to or read the privacy policy online. After the leader has all that information, they can then enter it into Juniper. And so again, registering all the people that have not previously registered, entering their pre-survey and post-survey information, and capturing their attendance of what sessions they attended. Once everything is entered into Juniper, you will then submit the privacy policy acknowledgement page, which is page 4 of the privacy policy, and that's just with the participant's signature, and an invoice, if applicable, if you are receiving payment for the class, to the Juniper Forms Processing at 1265 Great Fox Road, Suite 2, Arden Hills, Minnesota, 55112. Or you can submit them over secure email at formsprocessing@yourjuniper.org. If you aren't sure you have a secure email system set up or are questioning it, just mail it. So in the past, the forms from the leaders would often go to the service delivery organization or the regional area agency on aging. And so this is a shift this year where everything, no matter what funding source it is, no matter what class it is, everything will go to this address or this email. And that's all I have for the Juniper Step-by-Step. If you have any questions or need further clarification, I have the general Juniper number up here at 1-855-215-2174, and you can always email info@yourjuniper.org. And if you have any security questions, privacy policy questions, anything with data compliance, we have a data compliance officer at Juniper, and their email is datacomplianceofficer@yourjuniper.org. We're also getting a toll-free number set up for the data compliance officer, so you can call in anonymously. So we will let the network members know about that when it comes out. Other than that, that's all I have for you today. And so thank you for listening. Have a good day.